The name's Bond. James Bond.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I drink your milkshake.
You can't handle the truth.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa!
Alright, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Movie Mafia Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Trout. We're back again, joined again by my co-hosts, Lauren, Max, Gabby. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome into the Movie Mafia. I'm so excited to get the podcast going again.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing? How are you guys doing today?
Phenomenal. Thanks for asking.
Oh my god.
Doing good. We're so close to graduating. We're very close.
Absolutely. What about you,
Holding
Max?
on by a thread.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh my gosh.
The reality I'm clinging to is slowly crumbling beneath my hands, but yeah.
I'm doing alright. I got a lot of essays getting done, but going to see Mortal Kombat on IMAX on Friday and got my first vaccine shot, so everything's kind of looking up over here.
Nice. Yeah, we have a pretty decent episode today for the Movie Mafia, and I think we're getting really close on a bunch of our series now. You know, Invincible starting to get towards the end, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, one more episode left.
Yeah.
So, we're definitely getting towards the end of this stuff, but we still got a bunch of movie news coming up that we can talk about. Thankfully, like you said, Mortal Kombat's going to be coming out soon. We're going to have reviews for all that sort of thing too. But regardless, let's get right in the episode then. So, all right, one of the first things I wanted to talk about here is I kind of just wanted to touch on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 5. And we know it's a 6-episode series, so only one more episode left this upcoming week here. So, episode 5, I'm really mixed feelings about this episode. I didn't dislike it at all. But I didn't love it. Like, I was going into this episode thinking it would just the series get progressively better and better and better until it hit its peak, either this episode or next. And this episode was surprisingly just like good, and that was it. Like, it wasn't. I didn't think it reached the peak I was kind of hoping it was going to, or it seemed like it was building towards. So I'm just curious what you guys thought about it.
I really liked that it was Sam's his name, right? Falcon dude.
Yeah.
So Sam was just grinding at the end, throwing this disc around at the shield and like running really fast, even though he's like not super. And he was just like, it showed that he like needs to put in the effort because like he does deserve the shield. And he's like, you're like, look, he's doing it, you know? So I thought that was nice. And also like Bucky is like totally gonna like get with his sister.
Yeah, I saw that too. Oh my god.
That was good. But I felt the same way about last episode as you guys feel about this episode. Like, I felt very mixed about last week. This is actually my favorite episode by a lot, in my opinion.
Why?
I actually really like this episode. I still think there's issues, especially with the Flag Smasher stuff, which I really don't give a crap about anymore. At all. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but there was a whole subplot involving, like, you know how in the first couple episodes there was a vaccine and the woman who died from a disease similar to COVID. So they took it out of the show and reshot stuff and a lot of the Flag Smasher stuff is not even in the show. So I just don't care anymore. But the stuff, the Isaiah Bradley scene was amazing. It was so good, so emotional, so real. And I think that we've been talking about this every week, the evolution of Sam becoming Captain America. He might have more on his plate than Steve ever did, too. And I think that's what Bucky realized, too, the balance of being Captain America, but also being able to not just fight aliens and all that type of stuff, but also fighting for your community, fighting for your race, and fighting for his actual family. So I thought they actually nailed a lot of that for this week.
I guess because Cap really didn't have like a family or like people that, because like people did rely on him, but not to the way that Sam's family like kind of needs him.
Yeah.
And also like, I mean, like none of us are here that are Black, so we can't really talk about that from like a first count perspective. But I really did appreciate seeing them really take that concept of just being a Black man in America and just really like hash that out. And I'm like, that is like the type of thing that I want to get more airtime. So I'm like, yay.
Yeah. And Bucky apologizing. I think we all would have been in Bucky's shoes. Like Bucky, and knew that he was wrong throughout the entire thing. He didn't understand. I mean, he has his own perspective on the shield, but he didn't understand what it meant for Sam to get the shield. And I thought him apologizing and that scene as well was very, very good as well.
Yeah, I mean, some of my personal favorite scenes for the entire episode were the dialogue between Sam and Bucky. I thought was really good, and especially Isaiah Bradley
Yeah.
and Sam. But I
Yeah.
just a part of me, so I totally liked this episode. It was a good episode. I just didn't
Mhm.
think it was amazing. And one of the things that I felt really undermined it for me was, I mean, well, one, I do want to say the Flag Smasher storyline is just completely, as you mentioned, has just devolved into nothing at all.
Nothing. No
So
one cares.
they're not an antagonist whatsoever. Carly makes no sense as a motivation anymore. Like,
And she's good. I feel bad for her because she's actually a good actress. I just feel like the role isn't that great.
yeah, and then when she did the thing where she
Yeah, it doesn't
like she
feel
partnered
fully
with the
fleshed
guy who was a
out.
criminal, it was just like, well, how can you go from this to that? Like, I don't understand. And then all of
Yeah.
a sudden she has this network of people everywhere. Like, where did this network come from? How did she acquire this power? Like, I
I
just
have no
don't
idea.
understand why she's so influential. Like,
Well,
it just
that's kind of how they were introduced, was that symbol of the hand and like people using the app. But like, I thought it was too convenient that everyone in New York was like, cool, let's just go along with the European radicals.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
just do that. And then also, didn't it open with like that New York scene and they're like stopping the vote? But like, what happened? Did they kill anyone? Did they get like didn't get like what happened? What?
And
I
I've talked about
exactly.
this- and I've talked about this too. I hate the disguises with her in the show. For someone who's this much top level criminal right now, I mean, she's been across the country, out. I mean, she's literally out in the open, and for some reason, no one can find her
Yeah, that's
with
ridiculous.
technology. It really doesn't make
And
any
she's
sense.
a very unique looking person. Like you really can't miss a face and hair like that.
Yeah, but she's
Like all
good.
the
Like, I feel bad because I think she was. I really loved her in the first half of the show, like the first couple episodes. Like I dig her. I dig their motive, and then like as you can tell when they pulled a lot of their scenes out due to the similarities with COVID. You can tell you're missing a lot of information with the Flag Smashers.
What I
So
just don't
why-
understand, why
why
is
they
this a
pull them
6-episode
out?
series? I don't get it.
Wait, what did you say?
Go ahead, Lauren.
I was saying, why'd they pull out the scenes?
Because it's there's a disease storyline in the show that when they were done with it felt similar to COVID, and I don't think Disney
So?
wanted. I don't think
Why
Disney
not?
wanted because do you know so in the show there's a company called the GRC which is brought up every week. The big
Mhm.
storyline was that they were the ones who basically got the virus out to a community. So I don't think Disney wanted a mix of a company in the United States giving the virus out. It was a
But
really
I think that
complicated.
sounds very accurate.
Yeah, but it's very. I don't think Disney wants to get into that fire with people about it, which I totally get. I just think that
it would be a PR nightmare.
That
Yeah,
feels kind of lame. I mean, they're Disney. Like, if anyone can survive something like that, I mean, they can. And also, just tell a good
Oh.
story. If you tell a really good story, there's gonna be people, no matter what you put out, there's gonna be people who complain and oh my God, this and that. But if you just focus on good storytelling and make something real and authentic, like I don't think there's any issues with that. And
Another-
And Disney
I hate
is a
I hate when
company where
people
he
and
gets
companies
away
are.
with a lot of shit.
Well,
They like
I just
underpay people and
Yeah.
like totally abuse their workers, so like they could get away with anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just hate when companies just like back off of doing something because they're afraid of what other people might think. Like, just make something real and authentic. And the only reason you should be afraid of doing something is if you actually make something that is like, bad or like wrong or like morally wrong to make. Just make something
Jacob-
like morally right and go with good
I want
storytelling.
to bring up a point, Jacob, that I want to see if you're talking about. So one of the parts I didn't like, common sense wise, was that the Wakandans are not taking Zemo back to Wakanda. They're taking him to the Raft, which was the prison in Civil War
Yeah,
ran
yeah.
by Ross.
It doesn't make any
It's
sense to me.
obviously setting up the Thunderbolts in the comics, which is basically Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad. And so I think that's who I think Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, who comes into the episode as a cameo, I think she's working for Ross. So I think we're going to see Walker and Zemo and more people, Abomination, all be part of a team. But I felt like it was dumb for the Wakandans to not bring him back, especially because he killed T'Chaka in Civil War. It didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Wakandans seem to always be a people that is self-reliant and not interested in relying on anyone else or taking anyone else's opinion into consideration. So I don't understand why.
changed.
I don't understand why when they capture Zemo, and it's not like Zemo didn't do anything to them. I mean, he literally, like we just talked about it. Like
Yeah,
he killed their king essentially. So I don't
definitely.
understand why they wouldn't be like, okay, this is not an issue that concerns the United States or any other like government like that. Like this concerns our people, so we'll deal with them ourselves. So
It
it,
made
it
no
just
sense.
seems too convenient. I totally
It
agree
feels
with you.
forced to set up something else. Do you know what I mean? It felt forced
Agreed.
to set up.
And as much as I did like the training montage scene with Sam, and that was
Yeah,
kind of a la the Winter Soldier scenes with like Falcon and Captain America.
yeah,
Um,
sure.
I loved throwing the shield and everything and showing that like, hey, it's not so easy to catch this thing. Like it's actually kind of
Yes.
difficult. I thought that was cool, but that felt like it completely undermined the scene with him and Isaiah earlier. And that's one of the biggest issues for me with the show. I was
No.
expecting, personally, I mean, I understand why they went that route, and I don't
I'll
dislike
talk
it.
about it.
Well, I don't dislike it. I just don't think it's as good as they could have made it. Like I don't know what they're gonna have in the next episode. We saw he opened the briefcase, and like we didn't really see what was
It's just
inside.
Sue. It's just gonna
But
be his new
yeah,
Sue.
yeah, but I wasn't. I thought the whole point of this show, and especially this past episode, was to make Falcon into his own superhero, outside of Captain America, and make him uniquely himself. And then
Yeah.
he talked to Isaiah Bradley, and Isaiah Bradley talked about how the red, white, and blue, the shield, like it doesn't mean anything to him. Like, and he's talking about like no self-respecting black man would use this shield or like fight
Uh huh.
with those colors. So I don't understand then why he goes on to do exactly that. So it seems
I'll
practicing
do,
with the shield implies that he's going to be using the shield. So unless he's going to be like 50-50 or something, which doesn't seem right to me either, I just thought the whole point was him becoming his own hero when at the end he's montaging with the shield. So he's just coming the next Captain America,
I
which just felt strange
I
to me.
totally disagree with you.
Okay.
Totally. On a lot of levels. I think they do address this too in the show where Sarah and Sam were having that discussion on the boat after she says, we're not going to sell it. And she was like, don't get Isaiah in your head. And I think that Sam has to balance out. And Sam was even like, he was talking to Isaiah Bradley, and Isaiah was like, if you brought me out, people would kill me, all this type of stuff. But Sam knows that at least the times have evolved. Are they still good for Black people? Definitely not. But he still knows he has I think he's definitely come into his own superhero because he's a balance. He's balancing a lot of responsibilities at the moment. He's balancing being the poster boy for the United States, which has always been a white person, a white male, which is something that he has to, get over the top of that hump too, while also not just, I think Invincible does this too, fighting for the main, like fighting for your planet, fighting for stuff, but also fighting for your community itself, which I think Steve never really had to do once he came out of the ice. So I think that Sam has become a different character because he has a lot more responsibilities than Steve ever had, which is not, I'm not saying he's a better Captain America. I'm just saying from a character point of view, Sam has a lot more on his plate to do and to overcome than Steve did. Because even they explained in the show, when Isaiah Bradley says he got his people out of prison and then he got tortured for it, not seen as a hero, that literally happened in the first Captain America movie where Steve does the same thing, but Steve got heroic treatment for doing that. So Sam has to balance out being the poster boy for the United States, being a military guy, but also being a normal dude who has other responsibilities. So I totally disagree with you on that.
Yeah, I don't dislike the storyline that they've gone with, and I think it's totally valid and totally like it makes sense in a way. But I do think that ending him with a 50-50 kind of split where he's like also a big superhero and he's gonna help out like in the major world
Sure.
devastating conflicts, and then also he's like this everyday sort of superhero and like local
Yeah.
superhero. I get that mix and I think it makes sense, but I don't think it's completely him. Like I think the 50-50 split to me just seems strange. Like I don't think he's a global superhero at all. Like literally at all. I think he should
I
just be
agree.
100% a local superhero, and I think that would be his best fit. So him donning the Captain America shield, and I don't know if he's gonna do the Captain America logo or the name, the title. I don't know if he's going to do that or not, but I think it's a huge mistake if he does. I think he's much better as going through all this, realizing, the good and the bads of the Captain America title and the shield and what it means, but then choosing to just be his own person and be his own type of superhero, not influenced at all by Steve Rogers or anyone else. So
That's what he
I totally
says.
think the storyline
He
they're
says
doing
that.
now is fine.
He literally says to Bucky, Steve can't. Doesn't matter what Steve thought anymore. There's no
But
more.
then he uses the shield, so
But that doesn't- that-
so
he's not using
it just
it-
completely overwrites that.
he's-
Everything he
he's
said
using-
just is overwritten because he's like using the
No,
shield. He's just doing
but
exactly what Steve did.
He's using the shield, and the shield. He's using the shield, and the shield is a symbol for totally different reasons than what Steve did for it. Steve's motive of having the shield is totally different of what Sam had the shield for, and that's why John Walker didn't work, because John Walker, the government wanted John Walker to literally just be Steve Rogers 2.0, which didn't really work out for them. And it worked. And Sam is a totally different person whose motive is not just being another Captain America. He's not going to be called Captain America too. I think he's still going to be Falcon. I think the costume is new wings. So I just think that he is coming to his own person because he doesn't care, because Steve was wrong. I think everyone in the MCU, I think we all thought that, Captain America could do no wrong, but Steve doesn't understand him having the shield means to him, because it's a totally different motive and responsibility than what Steve had. So for me, he isn't just being another Captain America. He's being a black superhero in a country where it's not liked to be that type of character, and then to have the responsibility of protecting a lot of people. So I think it's totally different motives of having the shield.
Yeah, I totally get that. To me, I don't think it's the best version of the storyline, but I don't think it's bad at all.
Okay.
It's just personal preference.
I'm just saying my opinion. Again, I totally see your opinion. I'm just saying I loved Sam this episode. I thought this was Anthony Mackie's best work as the character, and I'm really excited to see next week. And also, John Walker killed it this episode. He had a lot of good scenes. And the opening fight scene was great. Him at the government place was really great. And him lying to Lamar's family. I thought John Walker's stuff was amazing this week as well.
Yeah, for sure. And other than the Sam and Sam and Captain America as a storyline, I thought like they did a weird job with some other storylines. Like for one, we talked briefly about Zemo now, and it doesn't really make sense with the Wakandans, what they're doing with him.
Yeah,
I don't know why they get back to the raft, but also it feels very anticlimactic for this like end of Zemo storyline for now. Like he's just kind of like sitting here in Sokovia. I'm like, oh, Sokovia, oh my God! Like I want to, what's happening here? And then we get there and he just says nothing, and then I don't know why. Bucky like fake shoots him. Like I don't know what the point of that was. Like that.
Yeah.
Like that seemed like a very strange
scene. You can't hurt anyone. That was rule number 2 of the therapy. You don't hurt anyone. That's what Bucky was trying to do right there, basically.
Yeah, but I don't know what the point of aiming the gun at him and pulling the trigger at him was, other than like to scare
I think
him.
it was just a fun little way to psych him out.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I didn't take it that seriously or anything.
Yeah, I was hoping for him to have some like meaningful dialogue with him.
Well, in a way,
it just was
it
kinda
is
strange.
kind of meaningful because like Bucky has the gun and Zemo doesn't move. He doesn't try anything. He's completely saying like to Bucky, like, no, like you have the power. I'm not gonna like fuck with you right now. You know what I mean? Like if you want to kill me right now, do it. Like do it. And Bucky's like, I'm above that. I'm not even gonna kill you. Instead,
Totally. Totally. And I thought I was gonna bring it up too. You brought it up too. Zemo's done his job. Like his point was to break up the Avengers, and that's like his stuff is done. That's why he feels so untouchable during the show, because he doesn't care what happens to him. That's why that was a great point.
For sure. And we also saw a couple other things in this episode. Like we saw Sharon for a minute, and
he hired Batroc.
Sorry.
He hired Batroc, who's the guy who is which is a huge reveal. I don't think she's the power broker, but she's definitely working for someone criminally wise.
So wait, who's the power broker?
We don't know yet. I still don't think we don't know yet.
Who do you think it is?
I don't think we've been. I think it's gonna be a brand new actor and a brand new character itself. I don't think it's gonna be something we've known before. They're really building it up because they're like, maybe it's Julia Louis-Dreyfus, which I don't think it is. I think she's just working for the government to get the Thunderbolts started. And Sharon would be. I think fans would hate it if Sharon went from being such a good guy to being just the stereotypical bad guy. The motives.
She's kind of sneaky. I mean,
yeah. She can be a criminal. I just don't want her to be the power broker. I think there's another. I think there needs the way they're talking about the power broker. She's a little bit too much in the open. Like she's doing a lot of the dirty work herself. which I don't think the power broker would be doing. So I think we're gonna get a big reveal next week on who the power broker. I mean, Friday, who the power broker.
It just
So
feels
it's
like
gonna
there's
be our
so many
finale.
storylines. Yeah.
The end of the Falcon.
Bucky, people are saying Bucky might die next week, which I really
no.
don't know. They're making it seem like he's coming back to. I don't know. For some reason, I have a gut feeling too that could.
No,
I don't
he's
think
gonna
it will
fall in
happen.
love with Sam's sister.
I just don't know. There are people. A lot of people are not like they have insider information. I'm just hearing things.
You're just listening to the void. Okay, tell me they're not gonna just end him with Sam's sister, because that's like the like Marvel cliche ending that like I see.
I totally agree.
I don't
That
think
is some
they will.
cliche ass ending
They're like
they're gonna have
"We
for
just
him.
sneak in
They're not gonna do that.
a little flirtiness, and then it'll be full blown marriage in 10 minutes.
No, I don't think so.
No, like Sam is gonna come back from the fight, and it's just gonna be like he's gonna come back to Bucky in his house already with his
Yeah,
sister.
literally. Bucky will be like, "Yeah, I moved in. Sorry."
I don't know. I mean, and then I just felt like the Power Broker storyline feels so like I just don't care. Like this should be a reveal I just cannot wait for. But there's so much Flag Smashers and John Walker and Carly and Sharon and
you still
Isaiah
think
Bradley and
Carly's
Sam
gonna
and Bucky.
die?
Like, what'd you say?
You still think Carly's gonna die? I know we said that
Yes.
before.
Yeah, she will die next week. I think, and I also think John Walker will fake his death next week. That's what I think. John Walker is going to fake his death next week.
Go off the radar, and he wants that shield back, doesn't he?
Well, he built his own shield in the mid-credit scene.
But like with vibranium.
No, he just with his own. He built it off of the crest of something. I forgot what it was, but it's not vibranium, but it's his own thing. Which I'm the John Walker stuff. Wyatt Russell's killing it. So that's why I love John Walker a lot more than the Flag Smasher stuff. So, because he really is egotistical and selfish the entire the entire show. So I'm pumped to see how he gets involved in this last episode.
Yeah, he is very manipulative. Super toxic.
Very.
Don't date him. His
Oh
poor
He has a
wife.
wife though in the show, so
Yeah, she's too good for him. How does she not see through his bullshit?
yeah, I know. It seemed like Lamar's family did because his sister gave him a weird
His
look when he
sister
walked
was
out.
here. She was
Yeah,
like,
something's off.
he's just not. He's also, if he was going for like complete like he's just not a warm enough person for like me to just believe anything he says. Like it's not like he's like charismatic, because he's not.
Yeah, that's the point, I think.
Yeah, you know, I just think above everything, I don't understand why this is a 6 episode series. Like I really don't get the series being 6 episodes. I just feel like there's so much more you can add on to this. I know they had to cut out a lot of stuff and maybe they just don't have the room for it. But
yeah, that's what I think.
I really feel like this Power Broker storyline could be better, and this Flag Master storyline could be a lot better. And like I want to see more of Isaiah Bradley's character. I want to see more of John Walker's motivations. Like I
wanna see
get
it
him
make
as a
sense.
character, but I want to see more scenes of John Walker being sympathetic and the audience being like, oh, he actually went to the family and like, and he feels bad. And he's talking to them. You're like, I want to see more of that. So it makes it a more fleshed out antagonist. So when you have scenes like Sam and Bucky fighting John Walker, you're not just like, you know, kick his ass, kill him, you know, whatever. You're actually sort of feel bad for John Walker. I don't feel like that at all, but I wish I
do.
did.
I do.
I didn't at the beginning when they were fighting him. I didn't at all.
I did in
And
the Lamar scene, the family scene, because he did something that everyone does, which is tell a lie. Like he had to tell the lie. He had to say, well, if he said that I killed the person who didn't kill him, then he would look. He has to satisfy the lie. Be like him saying to himself, you know what? I actually did the right thing of doing this, even though he didn't. I felt bad that he had to go to that limit, and you have to realize that he got massacred by the government on a public stage. Like no one's going to see him as the same way again. He went from being the poster boy that everyone loves to now no one's going to like this guy again. So he went from the highest of highs to, in my opinion, the lowest of lows. Like him looking at the poster really hit for me.
you know, I get his transition from being from the high to the low, but I don't think him looking at the poster hit me in any sense whatsoever because
Oh,
he's
okay.
too much of a jerk and an asshole throughout all these scenes and all the previous episodes. You know, like there's no scenes that I think make him sympathetic at all besides like this scene that we just saw this episode. And that's not enough to me. Like we needed more beforehand. And I think we need more so it shows his transition like yeah, he's complicated and he's not perfect like Steve might be. But he's not too bad either. Like he's actually a decent guy. I wish we had more of that. I just didn't feel like we got enough. So obviously we all knew from the beginning that he was going to be evil or bad in some sense. Um, and now it's just like okay, so that was transparent and there's no to me, it doesn't feel like there's it's tugging at any sort of heartstrings or it's like, oh, I feel bad for this guy. You know, he's kind of, chewed up and spit out by the government. That's clearly what they're trying to get you at and trying to aim at. I just don't buy it, and it just doesn't. It doesn't. There wasn't enough there for me to feel bad for him. So at the end of the day, I know episode 6 is going to roll around and it's just going to be Sam and Bucky punching John Walker, and then Carly and them all punching each other. And at the end, Sam and Bucky are going to win, and John Walker's probably going to kill Carly or something. So, that, and then they're going to have to like arrest John Walker and put him in the raft. So I just
Okay.
like that's how it's going to
Sounds
end.
like a clean wrap
And
up.
and I think that's kind of pathetic that I know that.
Would you rather have Carly in the raft or John Walker in the raft?
John Walker because he's stronger, I think.
Sharon's gonna get involved though. I think there's gonna be a few surprises next week. Like even though I didn't love the WandaVision finale, there were definitely things I didn't see coming with how they handled the finale. So I see your point. I would just wait because I think depending on the actor of who the power broker is, it could really turn it around. Maybe it's someone we've known in the MCU, or maybe it's a new person, or I don't know. I still agree with what you're saying of maybe you know what's going to happen, but I would still be optimistic because I think Marvel does a good job surprising us most of the time. So I would still be optimistic for Friday.
Absolutely. And one of the guys in our chat just said that I wish the series was on Netflix. They could have done the plot a lot better. And I actually am inclined to agree. I haven't watched that many TV shows from Disney Plus, but I really think this could have been a bit better on Netflix. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think the show would have been improved had it have been on Netflix?
You mean by Netflix? You just mean like the binge method? Like you thought this show should have been bingeable? Because that's what Netflix is. It's just been. I agree with that. I think this show definitely. There's nothing really to talk about week to week. Like WandaVision. Like there's a lot of theories, there's a lot of predictions. With Falcon Winter Soldier, there really isn't anything like that. Maybe who the power broker is, but it really isn't as big of a deal as WandaVision. So I agree with you. Especially because it's 6 episodes. I think it could have been bingeable.
Like I said last week, I would love if this was just a movie. Just watch it all in one, talk about it, and then move on to the next thing that Marvel puts out. That's what I would have liked.
For sure. Well,
Or like if Bucky had a third arm.
I speaking of that, can I just quickly touch on? I love the little moment where Bucky was like, where they were fixing the boat or what the piece like the pipe, and he just did it with the thing, and then Sam looks at him and he's like, "Why don't you just use your arm?" And he's like, "I'm right-handed." I thought that was actually kind of funny.
Bucky's so good.
I don't think of it right away.
Dude, I didn't even think of it either, and I just thought that was so funny.
Also, you can tell the evolution of his character because in the first episode, he was sleeping on the ground. He had nightmares. He was pretty pissed off. This episode, he's smiling. He's back to his old self, charming women. Like, he was so awkward in the first episode. And I thought that this episode really got a good job of Bucky's really turned around and he's really come back to, he's not the Winter Soldier anymore. He's actually just James, which I thought they nailed this episode.
He was the one in therapy in the first episode, right?
Yeah.
Well, that episode where he was in therapy, I was like, that was so relatable to me. I was like, yeah, this is like a modern day superhero who has to go to therapy to talk about his issues. Cause like same.
100%. And Max, I did have a question for you. One of the questions in the chat was, or one of the things someone said in the chat was about the power broker and the identity of the power broker. This guy thinks it might be Julia Louis-Dreyfus' character. What are your thoughts?
So she's playing a person. She's playing a person in the comics who is named like Madam Hydra. So she's playing someone who I think is going to be working for Thaddeus Ross, who we talked about the raft earlier. I think she's trying to recruit him to go to the raft and build this team with Ross, because Ross was very into the super soldier stuff in the first Hulk movie with Edward Norton, and he's going to be popping up in Black Widow, and I heard that she was actually supposed to be in Black Widow before this show. So I feel like she is going to be in Black Widow too, and because Ross is in Black Widow, and I think that she is going to be working for she's working for Ross. Is what I think. I don't think we've seen the Power Broker yet.
Interesting. Well, with that being said, we've spent about a half an hour just talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
And this
so
is the Winter Soldier podcast.
I can't imagine how much time it's going to be next episode. Yeah, honestly.
Power Broker, I hardly know her.
Oh no,
Lauren, no. Oh my gosh. But I do want to take a slight break from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but we'll stay on topic with Marvel. So I don't know if you guys got a chance to check out the new Marvel Studios trailer for Shang-Chi that they just released today. What were your guys' first impressions, reactions to the Shang-Chi trailer?
Jewelry. Glowing blue jewelry. The same blue as Iron Man's glowing thing. Coincidence?
I think not.
I mean, it does relate to Iron Man, the 10 rings, which I'll.
But where did the rings come from? Can you juggle the rings? Are they only bracelets? Can I get an anklet? How about a choker? What do they give you powers? What are the rings? Do they just make you like cooler?
I'm not familiar with this character at all, so that's why I'm fascinated about the movie, because I have no idea about the characters in the comics.
I said it before we went live, and I'll say it again. Come on, guys. Like, is this not discount Iron Fist? I mean, come on. The entire time I was watching it thinking, like, I feel like I've seen all these scenes in Iron Fist. Like, they could be the exact same scenes, I just wouldn't even know.
Mixed martial arts. And there's like a guy talking to his son. He was like, I gave you 10 years off, and now you have to come be by my side and be my lap toy. And then I guess, like, the son has to, like, put on his big boy bracelets and then go join his dad in the Chinese mafia. Like, I don't know what's going on.
No, it's funny. I love the trailer. I think it's really great. It looks really great to me. A lot of the action scenes look really sick, especially the mixed martial arts. This is the first Asian superhero film maybe ever. So this is a pretty big momentous. This is what I think what Black Panther very similar did to African culture and stuff. This will do it for that culture as well. So I think that this movie, and Awkwafina's in it, who's always really funny and everything she's in, and she's just great. So the trailer looks great. The music was ridiculously great in the trailer. I couldn't believe how good the music was. It looks really unique because I have no idea about the characters. It looks really unique. There's not really any big time actors in it, which I like seeing the MCU do, because I know they like to rely a lot on famous actors. I like that's a brand new lead guy who I haven't seen anything before. So it feels very different, which I love. It doesn't feel like a Marvel movie. It does feel very unique. So I'm very pumped for that movie.
Is this based off a comic book or no?
Yeah. Based off the Marvel comic book. Yeah.
Okay.
It didn't. No one really talked about it. It's a really forgotten one. Maybe because it's an Asian superhero. I don't know. But I'm really happy that this story and this culture is being done in a superhero movie.
So where does it take place at? Because I couldn't really tell. Was it in?
I can look this up.
Because I know like they talk in English, so that makes me think that they're in America. But I'm like, wait, are they? Like, I don't know.
I'm not entirely sure. One thing that I did want to touch on quickly that I thought was an interesting point to mention, that this movie's only gonna be in theaters, from what I saw.
Oh.
So far, yes.
Yeah, and it's not. They haven't announced anything about it being on Disney Plus. Maybe after it makes its theatrical run, it'll go to Disney Plus. But
we're not doing Black Widow. No. Not with 30. Yeah. Not the access. You mean like not the $30 access? Yeah.
Yeah, like Black Widow is gonna cost $30 to watch on Disney Plus.
It is coming out. It is coming out in September, so they have time to redo that. If the virus is bad in September, I have no idea.
Yeah, September 3rd is when Shang-Chi is gonna premiere, and I just don't understand why they would make it only in theaters with the amount of content that they're putting on Disney Plus. I can't imagine that it's an issue of rights But
No. That's their
so
choice.
yeah, I just don't understand. I don't understand the choice behind it. But I mean, maybe when September rolls around, theaters will have opened up a little bit more, and this will have, been the right choice. But it seems like they might be experimenting with it. Another thought, like it seems like they might be using this movie to kind of experiment to see if
Yeah.
something can be only in theaters again. Like this is like their guinea pig for releasing a movie for theaters only and seeing if it will
Yeah.
actually be able to survive.
Because Eternals comes out in November and Spider-Man comes out in December. So they have 4 movies coming out this year. So Black Widow will be the test if people actually go to see in the theater or not, or they want to see on Disney Plus. So that's a big. Black Widow is the test for I think superhero for I think all superhero movies in the pandemic.
Totally, for sure. I totally agree with that. Outside of Shang-Chi, there was a little kind of like not like a huge bit of news, but something under the radar. Well, yes, yeah. Well, there's that, and there's also something else. I do want to get to the Alfred Molina Doc Ock news, but just before you're close. But just before, I did want to mention one thing I didn't bring up to you guys before. We saw that Zack Snyder is being eyed to direct the next Ghost Rider movie, to a future Ghost Rider movie, I should say. So we know that Ghost Rider is kind of owned, Disney, Marvel, like the whole kind of branch of that. And some reports came out in the past day or so that Marvel is looking at Zack Snyder because of his success, with the Snyder Cut and the impending release of what was it, Army of the Dead or whatever it's called.
Army of the Dead comes out in a couple months.
Yeah. So
Netflix.
Yep. So I think they're just kind of eyeing him to make like a ridiculously action-packed, just like over-the-top Ghost Rider movie. Nothing is confirmed with that. But that was a story that broke the other day, and I thought that was really interesting. For me, I think the best and the only good Ghost Rider I've ever seen at all was Nicolas Cage's original Ghost Rider.
Those are bad too. Both of them are bad.
Well, I don't.
Both of them
I think it's kind of like cheesy, but that's kind of the point. I think like the original Ghost Rider movie I thought was so good because it was so like all over the top and like ridiculous.
Okay.
I just think that's the best version of Ghost Rider because they tried doing the serious version on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I thought that was so lame.
Yeah.
Like the Robbie Reyes or whatever, oh god, it was not there.
I really don't like those Ghost Rider movies.
Johnny Blaze, Nick Cage being all ridiculous, like so good.
Yeah, it's dumb. It's iconic. Fun. I'm not saying it's a good movie. It's dumb fun.
But I just think that's Ghost Rider.
Oh, okay.
To me. I just think Ghost Rider is dumb fun, so just like embrace it. Like you can't make Deadpool a serious character,
Yeah, true.
So that's my perspective of it. To be determined. If they try doing something serious with Ghost Rider, maybe I'll be proven wrong. But I just don't think that character. Every time I see him with serious dialogue and like some, actual like real plot, I'm just like, ugh. Like I just want to see him say some ridiculous line and like kill people. And just have a ton of fun watching it, but that's just my perspective of it. But yeah, and that's kind of like a little side bit of news I just wanted to throw in there. And I do want to talk about what you mentioned earlier, though, Max. So we did get a little bit of the Doc Ock news from Spider-Man 3. And when I say Spider-Man 3, I'm talking about the third MCU Spider-Man movie. Yep, Spider-Man No Way Home. So Alfred Molina, and we know he's the actor who plays Doc Ock in the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. Yep, Spider-Man 2. So he kind of accidentally said that on social media that Spider-Man No Way Home will be picking up Doc Ock's story where it left off in Spider-Man 2. So he basically just confirmed that he's in it and that they're tying in Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man character, or at least that universe in some capacity.
Yeah, I'm just gonna curse too really quick. I lost my shit reading this article. I couldn't believe that they were picking up from him in the river, because I love the first 2 Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire. Love them to death. I really love the first one a lot more than the second one. But this confirms that they're definitely doing multiverse. All the Spider-Man. I mean, this just confirms a lot. I mean, this is pretty big news. And he was so good in the movie in Spider-Man 2 as well. I also read, there's a leaked plot leak of the movie too, and like not like a spoiler plot leak, but there's a person who we think saw the plot, and it seems a little too chaotic for me as of now. There's a lot of different people in the movie, but I'm pumped to see Doc Ock back. I'll be very giddy in the theater.
100%. I mean, Spider-Man 2 is one of the greatest superhero movies of all time.
Yeah.
So anything from that movie coming back, like, I'm just so excited to see it, and I hope to God they don't butcher it. I really hope. Because
Yeah.
I've said it before, and I know you're kind of on the opposite side of me. Not the biggest fan of MCU Spider-Man, little kid Spider-Man, little teenage boy, prepubescent Spider-Man. It kind of gets on my nerves with his bullshit problems.
Okay.
But but
But
I hope they don't ruin my boy Toby. All right, Toby was perfect where he was. If you're gonna bring him back, make him better. Don't ruin him, please.
Yeah,
Please.
no, I'm pumped to see them on screen, and I like Willem Dafoe is rumored to be in the movie, and he was in that plot leak that I saw. So I'm gonna lose my stuff in the theater because we kind of Jacob, I can say this, we both kind of grew up with those Spider-Man movies, the early 2000s films, right when we were growing up, and I have a lot of nostalgia, at least for the first two films, even three too. So I just want to see these characters back on screen. Like I didn't get to see those movies in theaters. I was too young. So I'm really excited to actually see these characters on screen in the theater.
Totally. I totally agree.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as we get towards the back half of the episode here, I did want to quickly. Well, I also, we've been keeping going with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. A new show is kind of came up into the Movie Mafia podcast.
And I've watched that.
And Lauren has watched it.
I'm in on the gang.
Yes.
Gabby, you're next. All right.
We're just talking episode 6, right? We're just talking this past week.
Well, I do want to hear Lauren's opinion over all of it. But of course, I'm talking about Invincible. I'm talking about the Amazon Prime Video TV show Invincible. It has been surprisingly good. I thought it would just be like a cool superhero like show, and it would be with good animation and like enjoyable to watch. But it is amazing. I mean, oh my gosh, do I really love the story, the plot, just the overall characters, like the development of each characters, the uniqueness of each like character. I think, and the depth of their storyline, even for like background minor characters, it does such a good job. I mean, people have been losing their mind about this show, and I really just think Invincible is going under the radar. It's one of the best shows I've been watching all year. But so Lauren, I know you've recently picked this show up along with us. So what are your thoughts having 6 episodes of this show already?
I really like it. I feel like the version of me like in like high school, middle school, who was like obsessed with like Danny Phantom and like I don't know, like I would watch like what was it like Generator Rex and like all those like TV shows that are kind of in that style. So like I kind of felt right at home but it was like it's like gorier than like what you would see like on Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network. So I was like, oh, it's for the adult me, I guess. Like so it definitely like for all age groups, like if you're younger, like you get to see eyeballs squished out of someone's head, but it's in a cartoon style, so you're fine. And the drawing style, the animation style, it kind of reminds me of like a lot of things like I've seen, like even a little bit of like the Last Airbender kind of like style, but like more different and like you kind of remind me of like Ben 10 a little bit too. So like it kind of like you feel right at home when you jump into it, and I love like all the plots and the things and the costumes and.
I wanted to ask you. We asked Jacob this last week. Did you see the ending of the first episode coming?
Y'all spoiled it before I watched it, so I knew it was gonna happen. But I don't think I would have foreseen it if you guys didn't tell me. Like, yeah, I probably wouldn't have. Like, not at all. And it's like so weird now. It's like so they got rid of the demon guy and like the government, like the Scarface dude, he knows that like Omni-Man killed everyone. Yeah. But it's like, okay, like what are we gonna do about it? Like we're all just sitting around pointing fingers, like
it definitely.
And then our main character is like dead now, so
What?
Yeah. Well, I think she's talking about the end of
That's
episode
good.
5.
Yeah.
Oh, did you not see episode 6?
Oh, I did. But like, he's like barely alive. He came back, and then he fucked up with
Amber.
his girlfriend, and then oh yeah, so the poor. I love that the best friend is gay because we love a gay best friend, and it's like that was so cute. And then like he literally said like that they had gay sex, and I was like, yay! You never hear that in a cartoon. So point for the queers, I guess. What was my point? Oh yeah, they made his the best friend's like love interest into
Yeah.
a robot, and then just got rid of him. Like that, like it's just fine. They just like clean up the mess, and like it's so like what the fuck? Because now like his friends gonna like always kind of like resent him for being like you're the reason why the guy I like is now a robot. Like fuck you.
Jeez.
Yeah, this is a
You know
really
Ezra
intense
Miller?
show.
Ezra Miller voiced the villain guy this episode. Ezra Miller voiced.
Really? I thought his voice sounded familiar, but I couldn't put my
Yeah,
finger
yeah,
on it.
he's the guy who poor D.A. Sinclair, I think is his name or something like that. The guy who is creating the robots. That was Ezra Miller, which I thought was interesting. This is a pretty divisive episode. I saw
They went up his jaw at the end, like when that last
Oh,
shot of
yeah.
him with his
That was
mouth. I
awesome.
was like, ha.
I thought what the because now we can talk about episode 6 now, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Spoiler fashion. What I liked about the episode a lot was that last week's episode was very superhero heavy, was a lot of superhero stakes. And I liked a lot that this episode was very human heavy. A lot of the Mark Grayson, not Invincible heavy, with getting back with Amber and the fact of like, God, he messed up again. Like he just can't tell Amber. You're like, just tell her that you're invincible because like he's messing up. But you also feel for Amber because Amber feels like she's being lied to a lot. So you totally feel Amber's point of view on it, and you feel Mark's point of view, which I think is why them together is so good.
Yeah, it was really harsh when Amber was like, what was it? When Eve was like so wrong about you. And I was like,
oh.
mean.
Eve's also had a great thing this episode. Like her,
Yeah, you really see her.
Love that.
Her storyline.
Yeah.
But her parents suck.
Her dad sucks. Her dad sucks.
Yeah.
Totally.
And it's so difficult because obviously her dad sucks, but like in a way her dad loves her in a twisted kind of like manipulative a little bit way. Her dad loves her, and that's the saddest part. It would in a way it'd be a little bit easier for her if her parents just completely sucked and were just like whatever. But like in their own way, her parents love her, and that's the hardest part that she has to leave anyway. I think, and I think that's just points to how good this show really is.
Yeah, it's definitely really relatable because like I feel like my parents do things that are like, oh well, you're a woman, you can't do those things, and I'm like, no, I can. You just have no faith in the world. Like, I don't know. It's very relatable.
Eve is so good. I really like Eve, and I have no idea where the show is going, by the way, which I think is really exciting. Like, the ending of this episode with Debbie finding out, going to Mark Hamill's shop. You know, Mark Hamill plays the costume person, and that they reveal that he
Art.
not just did he not just has all the blood of all the glow people on his shirt, but he clearly started the fight. And Debbie just comes out and just says, "You did it." Like, it was, I don't know. I felt like so locked into that scene.
Yeah,
that was like the tension we needed.
For sure. And I wanted to ask you, Lauren, what did you think about, I know that we kind of spoiled a decent bit of Invincible for you before you got a chance to watch it. So you knew that Omni-Man was kind of a bad guy in some capacity because he killed all his heroes. So what was your impression of it watching like his interactions with his family?
He keeps gaslighting his fucking wife. Like, stop gaslighting her.
Yeah.
And like he's totally okay. So he keeps saying to everyone, to his son, to everyone, that like their race of aliens is to like protect the cosmos. So there's a bunch of hippies saving people, but clearly he has anger issues, and not only does Omni-Man have them, but his son does too. Invincible, you get a glimpse at that anger when he was like getting beat up and all that, and like feeling those strong emotions. And it seems like emotion it plays a big part in their powers. So I feel like if they feel anger to let's say they're strong, but they're stronger than humans. So their emotions are probably past the range of what humans can feel. Plus, Invincible's half human, so his emotions are probably all type of who knows what's going on with him. He's an experiment. But yeah, Omni-Man, you saw his rage when he was destroying an entire planet of people. And he comes back and it's like, oh, I just talked to him. Huge liar, literally hiding so many things. He probably comes from a race of murdering aliens. They're probably all evil, and they eat eyeballs for dinner.
Now, I have a thing, too, that I feel like could happen. It feels like he might try to kill her, or he's thinking about killing her. For some, do you guys feel the same way? Because
I was terrified for the wife. I was terrified for her.
I think she might die. I don't know, because I have no idea where the show is going, which is really great about the show. But I felt like he was about to kill her. I was like, oh my god, Debbie's she could have been a stereotypically boring character, and they made her really interesting. So I'm really hoping she doesn't get killed off, but I get why she would.
Yeah, it would be character development, but I feel like
conflicted, because I think he does care about her. I do think he does love her, actually. I do feel that. I just feel like he has his priority. His priority number one is protecting the Earth.
This is probably the first time he can't solve an issue with violence. She's probably the first thing in his whole life that he can't just kill and then walk away from. So he's probably frustrated out of his mind.
Yeah, I totally agree at that point.
Yeah, I'm ready for him at some point to just put his fist through her head or something, and I'm just gonna be in horror. I feel like I'm on the edge of my seat waiting for it.
Yeah.
And every time she says something to him, every time she gives him a certain attitude or a certain tone, I'm just like, oh my god, he's gonna kill you, he's gonna kill you, he's gonna kill you. And I think that's one of the best parts of the show. How many episodes are in this show? 8?
Yeah, there's 8. But I also wanted to say that they balanced Mark. I think this episode nailed that Mark kind of just wants to be a normal kid. He wants to go to college and live this and go to, even if Amber's his first love, just try something out, be a normal kid. But of course, when that stuff happens, someone comes and he has to be invincible. I thought they nailed him wanting to be a normal kid and being a superhero really good in the show.
Yeah, one of the last things I wanted to touch on for Invincible was that I felt like he had a lower power level this episode. And I can't tell.
Guys, ass kicked this episode.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was because of the injuries he sustained in the previous episode, or if there's something else we don't know about. But he felt like he had a much lower power level in this episode.
Yeah, because he needed help. He would have probably he needed help on all of them.
Yeah, I mean, he couldn't even take the first fight against just one of the guys, let alone 3 on 1. I mean, he had no shot. Basically.
Which I like that there's real stakes. I felt like, oh my god, is he gonna die in the 5th episode? Because I was like, holy, he's getting the crap beat out of him. There's actual stakes in the show, which is why I love the show, because there's just real stakes. You feel like it, because I think because the show's so violent, you feel like one punch and someone could get killed.
Yeah,
I feel like
I totally get that.
It's more realistic than live action superhero movies, because they get thrown off a cliff into a pile of rubbish and then stabbed and they're fine.
Yeah.
At least they're actually kind of dying.
Yeah, I think you established death in this show so perfectly when you have that scene at the end of episode 1. We have all these guys get killed, so it's just hey, opening the door right here, anyone can die.
And they even brought back the adopted son for the post-credit scene this week, which I thought he was the one digging up the grave, and then the 2 blue guys. And I also think we're gonna get the robot monster girl stuff. That is so fascinating. That robot. I have no idea.
Because he took the fire dude's DNA, not her.
Yeah. Her.
So why would he want Rex? Is he using Rex's DNA? And then who is that infant in the incubation thing?
I thought he's growing a new Rex so that he can replace the other Rex because he's problematic.
But still, because
he's always an asshole to the robot.
He does care about Monster Girl though in a very weird way. I don't know
why. I was oh wait, maybe he's okay. So the guy that we saw, the dying creature in the tube, what if he's using Monster Girl's ability, like his plan is to use her ability of aging backwards to heal that original person. You know what I'm talking about? But to do that, he has to do a bunch of other stuff.
Potentially.
I mean, and also what's cool that they established that he can also go into different bodies, robot. Like there's different
He has droids.
Yeah. So I have no idea what's gonna happen with the show, which is why I love the show so much.
For sure. And we're getting pretty close to the end of our time here. So I do want to just quickly touch on this one story. I feel like I'd be remiss if we didn't mention the fact that Netflix announced that they're going to be adapting the Chronicles of Narnia books into both movies and a TV series on their platform in the years to come. So, I'm just curious what your initial, quick thoughts before I wrap up the episode here.
Narnia movies. What are they talking about?
I like the first Narnia, and then it gets so dumb with 2 and 3. It's gonna be tough because a lot of people see those like Tilda Swinton as the main villain, the queen, like perfect cast, like James McAvoy. Or you get Liam Neeson to do as like, you know what I mean? Like there's some really good casting in those Narnia movies. I don't think people care about Narnia anymore. Do you think so, Jacob? Because I
don't think anyone cares about Narnia at all anymore. But I think when you make I think people know about the Chronicles of Narnia, but I don't think people care about it. So if you add that to Netflix and maybe Netflix does something new and unique, I think this could be a big series if it's new, unique, and just using something that people know, so it drags in some people like, oh yeah, I've heard of this. I'll check this out because it's on Netflix. I've heard people online saying that this is Netflix trying to compete with what Game of Thrones used to have and what the MCU is, kind of like a big franchise of their own. And I don't think it can get to that level.
It could, because the world is awesome. The world is there for the taking. They just need really good child actors, which is tough. They need really great child actors for these roles. And but the world is there, so you just need good character stuff because the world is so cool.
Yeah, totally. I think honestly Netflix has a better shot at doing that, in my opinion, with a show like The Witcher, which I think is doing so well with them.
Oh, I do like Witcher.
Or Stranger Things too.
And
Stranger Things
totally. Totally. So I mean, we'll see. I'm definitely going to be tuning in to the Chronicles of Narnia stuff. I was never really interested in the movies when they released years ago. But Netflix making them, I think it'll pique my interest. So definitely something to keep your eye on. But all right, I think with that being said, we're getting a little close to our time here. So I'm going to wrap up the episode. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you everybody in our audience for tuning in and watching. The Movie Mafia podcast is always going to keep going all summer long. So make sure to tune in every Monday live on Twitch, or you can watch pre-recorded on Spotify, YouTube. All right, guys, thank you for watching another episode of the Movie Mafia, and we'll see you next week. Peace.